Hey guys, and welcome to the Igloo. And today it's going to be a pretty interesting one. Um, I will be making a full coverage video for Conan Exiles in a little bit for the game that I'm doing. I'm trying to do like an annual thing or semi-annual thing when it comes to the game and a few other things. And I know a few of you guys will be interested in it, but that's like my older content when I did video games a lot, and apparently you guys really enjoyed, especially for Conan Exiles. As for Fallout 76, that is another thing. There's a big controversy going around why people are able to still steal full inventories. They said it was patched, but then the group and also the hacker that announced it pretty much were like, oh, you can just pretty much steal everything. But that's besides the point. So what we're talking about today is hybrids. Now, this company in Germany, and I'm going to be very prevalent when it comes to this, and it's really interesting. Now, I don't normally talk about other subsidiary companies. Now, people have done conversions to have electric vehicles in their Jeeps and their um, Volkswagens and pretty much any type of vehicle that they could have a conversion for. But this is the first time that I've ever heard of somebody converting an electric car into a hybrid. So, what this guy and this company is doing is that they are making a Tesla plug-in hybrid conversion. So, it's going to be called the Choice MK2 or whatever, with 620 total miles of range that you can actually be having. But it's going from a 50 kilowatt hour battery pack down to 17. So you pretty much have like no range, but they're going to be putting a two-cylinder like petrol engine no matter what to pretty much generate and become a almost, what was it called, in series hybrid. So an in series hybrid is pretty much using the electric motor that handles all the driving on top of everything else, and then the petrol engine pretty much will generate it. And this is using a Tesla Model 3. Great idea in different ways, but then also at the same time, no. So with conversions, they also get expensive. So with the Tesla, it is not designed to have exhaust. There's no catalytic converter that is put in there. There's no actual room. So what they're doing is that they're taking probably about half of the battery, probably through the middle, to just put the exhaust straight through and letting the ICE motor, the ICE two-cylinder motor, to generate with an electric stator or a motor in the front so that it can pretty much generate the electricity while driving and have this plug-in feature. Now, Tesla Model 3 is pretty much a skateboard for most regards. But when you're limiting the capability of this machine to a severe extent, I don't see it worth, because they're talking about reducing the batteries. So I would say that this conversion company is going to be like making this like so much smaller, and then they're getting some of their profits from reselling the batteries to a Tesla Powerwall or something. Like, I don't know where their money would go when it comes to like supplying this product. And they are saying that it's been testing alongside the BMW i3. Now, the BMW i3 is pretty much like this. It's a funny car in all sense. It's really just a joke to have around. But then, like, they want this car to be affordable, but then you would have to sell all of the sensors, which pretty much make what Tesla is. You're going, again, from 50 kilowatt hour battery pack down to 17.3. So you would literally have a Powerwall size in your car. So that's, I think, 1 or 2 modules or something like that. I don't quote me on that, but I don't know the numbers on the top of my head. But I don't see destroying most of the battery pack and everything else to be pretty much called that. Now, would I support this in a way? Yes, I would, because again, as one of the straining processes, like just as we have made electric hybrids for Jeeps, for trucks, and for everything else, I would support this, and I would support seeing this kind of thing. Would it be weird seeing this in a Tesla? Yeah, because again, this is a conversion. So it would probably have some sensors going off. Now, one of the biggest things that I would probably say is that there'd be some kind of weird kind of vibration when it comes to like the radar and also the cameras, because again, we're talking about a full electric car that is using things to observe its environments. Would that extra vibration also damper the actual full autonomous driving features and also autopilot when you're going down the road? How much risk would you actually be putting yourself in because of having that kick come on from the cycle just ICE motor that's on the front on top of everything else? I just don't. I see it as something that I could see people getting behind, but more mainly in the United States, not Germany, because this is an Austrian company from, of course, Austria. But like again, it comes down to infrastructure. Something that a lot of Europeans and Americans alike have is that they have an infrastructure. Now, I could see this happening, like maybe currently in the Brazil area. I can see this in like long range travel distances of China. Maybe that there's a third party also battery monitor system that is plugged into Tesla's. I don't know on how much conversion pretty much overrides their main computer on top of everything else. But I would definitely say that if you're taking that much out, you're taking a good majority out of the vehicle on top of everything else. So they would probably have reprogrammed some of it, but would they actually add to their own? Or I just don't know. Personally, I think the conversion is still a good idea. Would I do it myself? No. If I'm getting a electric vehicle myself, I'm going to be getting the Cybertruck on top of everything else. And it's just something that I would hold in high regards because, again, when you look at it, like the Model 3, you pretty much have something that's like that. I don't see having the standard range plus as an option. I pretty much would have the long range version or something that would be better if I was going for that. But then there's also, well, would you look at that? So we go back just a little bit more. Sorry. And then you go to the Model Y. Like, the Model Y is still something that's going to be a little bit more practical for the all-family kind of purpose vehicle. It's a little bit bigger. It's not as big as the Model X. It's probably like a few tabs shorter in the front and in the back, but it has that vertical height, and it could actually seat a lot of people. And that's something that people are going to pretty much love, even though they don't say like the wiring infrastructure that's going to be in it in their advertisements. This vehicle is going to be a steal to make, especially with the wire assembly on top of everything else. But that's why if you add complexity, like when it comes to this, and you're adding just another ICE module or something like that, once you add complexity to something, the cost goes through the roof. You're going to have to contact these type of people, and especially when you have your own custom conversions, it gets very expensive, and you have to deal with a lot of postcodes and error codes all the time. And I just don't see that, because that's what I say for the Series 1. I don't think that they would have this in parallel, because most of the drivetrain would have to get replaced, especially for this model on top of it. And I don't think it would be a mild hybrid, it's literally, out of any kind of hybrid that I would say, is that it would be a series hybrid on top. I'm just looking over my notes, and I'm just like, that's no. So that's one of the big things that I want to talk about. But then there's also another thing that I will be talking about in my next video, which is, since there's new stuff coming out for the actual Tesla Semi, I would like to talk about that and talk about on how they would literally live throughout their promise with their big 1 megawatt like setup for the Semi. So thank you guys for coming, and I thank you guys for seeing all this kind of stuff now in like these videos that I've been doing, and it's just been really great, like transitioning to have something that I like to cover. Like on top of it, like that's one of the other things. I can't wait to make my plumb bob for Punam, to have a water cooled build on top of it. And See you guys. Have a good one.